Hello everyone, Chris Snodgrass here, coming to you once again from beautiful Kabul, Afghanistan. We're over a mile high and it just gets colder every day. Now today what I want to do is do a leadership analysis of the movie Remember the Titans. And what I want to talk about is some of the leadership characteristics and the leadership styles of Coach Boone and Coach Yost, and how they're similar, how they're different. And what I also want to do is talk about some of the both positive and negative followership traits of some of the characters in the movie, and also one scene in particular where a couple of guys are both leaders and followers, which is very important in my opinion. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, this movie takes place during the Civil Rights Movement. It was an extremely turbulent time in American history, probably the most turbulent time in American history, honestly. The nation was divided, as it has been since the existence of the nation, really, and even before that. But the difference with the Civil Rights Movement was that black people were finding a voice. They were standing up for their rights, and they were starting to gain momentum. And a lot of white people had a lot of problem with this, especially those in the South. Okay, so during this time, unification depended very strongly on strong leadership and effective leadership, because it was really the difference between peace and violence in many cases. So that leads us to Coach Boone. He's a very authoritative figure, and honestly, in his position in this situation, that's the right call. I mean, that's on the way for him to be. Like, he couldn't afford any instance where people thought that maybe he wasn't in charge. I mean, he had to be that guy that made sure that everybody knew he was in charge and things were going to run his way, because any leeway he gave opened the door for chaos. I mean, he could have very easily not gained the respect of the white players, which would have in turn, he would have lost the respect of the black players, and the team never would have been unified. Okay, he's also very dual focused. All right, Coach Boone, he's concerned with his players. Okay, he is both black and white, because that's the whole point of the movie. But he's also concerned with a multiple task. All right, I mean, he's got his job as a coach. He's also has to unify the team in order to win games. I mean, if he's not winning games, he's going to get fired. But he's also trying to prepare the players for life after football, especially the black players. Now, there's a certain scene in there that we can actually talk about for a while. It's where Coach Yost actually benches Allen, one of the white players, for Petey, one of the black players, because Allen's not performing. And it was right after Coach Boone really tore into Petey because he wasn't doing his job on offense. Now, this worked out for Petey. I mean, he did well, and Coach Yost thought he did a good thing. And but the problem was that by benching Petey, Coach Boone was trying to show him that, things aren't always going to go your way. There's not going to be somebody there to put their arm around you every time something goes wrong. All right, so that's kind of what he was trying to get to, and Coach Yost kind of got in the way of that. So they had the same goal of looking out for their players and focusing on that, but at the same time, they were going about it two different ways. They had two different visions for that. Now, Coach Yost, on the other hand, he's a very adaptive leader, and he does a great job of being passive. He holds kind of a passive leadership role. He is a leader for the players, but at the same time, he's not the boss. He's not the head coach. He is an assistant. So I think Coach Yost understands his role. He knows where he belongs. He knows what he's supposed to be doing, and he believes in what Coach Boone's doing, and he does a great job of leading by example, which is extremely important from his standpoint for all the white players on the team. Now, the thing about Coach Yost's focus, he's also very dual focused. He cares about the players, both the black players and the white players. He also cares about his job as a coach. Now, the difference with his focus on task is that in the beginning, I think it was more about winning football games for Coach Yost. Now, as time went on, he kind of realized, hey, we're doing bigger things here. Like, this is about more than just football. This is about unifying a team, unifying a people, and setting an example for the community, which I think they did ultimately in the end. So the thing about these two leaders that I take away, that I would really like to emulate in my own leadership style and things, is one, their patience. They're both extremely patient men. This process was not easy. The whole unification, getting the team to play as a team, definitely was not easy. I mean, there had to be frustrating times, and it took a lot of patience to get through that. And another thing is their selflessness. Now, Coach Boone knew coming into this that he was going to have to deal with a lot of backlash from the community, but he did it anyway because he believed more in the idea and the vision of bringing people together, and he put that ahead of his own needs and his own welfare, really, and even his family's welfare. And Coach Yost, I mean, Coach Boone took his job. I mean, he could have very easily sabotaged the season and got his job back, but he didn't do that because he believed in what they were trying to do there. Now, there were some organizational, cultural issues that they didn't have to deal with. For example, the scene that we just talked about, where Petey gets, inserted into the game, and Coach Boone has this whole big picture lesson that he's trying to teach him, and it's because he knew that once, especially the black players, once they left high school, once they got out into the real world, that they were going to have issues. Things were going to be hard for them, and like he said, there's not always going to be somebody there to give you a hug, put their arm around you at the end of the day. And Coach Yost, he didn't really understand that. So, like I say, he kind of got in his way on that, and it kind of hindered what Coach Boone was trying to do. But once he understood it, I think he got it, and he from there he kind of really started believing more in what Coach Boone was trying to do and understanding the big picture. Now, followership in this movie is very prevalent all through it. We've already discussed Coach Yost. He was actually being a follower while being a leader, which is very important. But there's one particular instance in the movie where two guys, Gary and Julius, are very effective followers. It's in the scene right after Julius called Gary out for attitude reflecting leadership, and it was the strong side, left side scene. I know we all know it, but this moment really just brought the team together. I mean, it was they were being followers because they believed in Coach Yost or Coach Boone's message. They believed in what he was trying to do, but at the same time, what they were doing was being leaders for the rest of the players. Like, they set the standard for what it means to be a team, and this thing's bigger than all of them. Now, on a negative note of followership, Ronnie, the guy who just doesn't seem to get it throughout the whole movie, there's a scene where he drives up in a car, and they're trying to get Gary to get in the car with him and to go off and hang out with him. Well, Gary wants to hang out with the team. He wants to hang out with Julius, and he tells him that. Well, he's obviously ostracized at this point. He's met with a lot of backlash, and he doesn't really, it bothers him, but at the same time, Ronnie and the rest of those people in that car, they're really sheep. They're not thinking for themselves. They're afraid of any kind of change or anything they don't understand, and they're just going along in life, like, not trying to better themselves or better the situation. So it's really negative on the followership there. Well, pretty much anybody that studies leadership really needs to watch this movie. They're doing themselves a disservice if they don't. Plenty of followership, plenty of leadership examples in the movie. And just remember, if you don't take anything away from this, take this away. You have to be able to follow before you can lead. And there are going to be times where you have to do both. Okay. So I hope everybody took something away from this, and thank you so much for your time.